Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And we're glad that you are joining us tonight. And we are anticipating the upcoming National Black Book Festival, which is 2 weeks from this coming Thursday. It comes up so fast, and then it's like a whirlwind weekend, and then it's over, and then we're looking at next year. So, and we've already started planning for 2026. So we start planning at least a year out, normally 14 or 15 months out. So it's a long process, but it's very gratifying. And Rhonda, thank you for having me on your show last night. We've been getting some good feedback from the post.
Awesome.
And, you made me think of some things I hadn't thought about for a while. You know, you asked me some questions and I had to go back and revisit some things that happened in the past and just how we got started. And, you know, it's gone by fast. It's really a long time
It
ago.
really has.
It's been 26 years since we started Kush City, and it just has gone by like, you know, life is short and things go really quickly. And before you know it, you're just trying to stay abreast and keep moving. You know, you have to keep stuff moving. So anyway, we want to see everybody at the National Black Book Festival, October 23rd, the 25th in Houston. We have a great featured author lineup. We have some great participating authors coming from all over the United States, representing about 20 different genres. And we'll have the books for the featured authors, and we'll have all of our merch. We have 9 different literary themed t-shirts now. So we really expanded our line, and our designs are exclusive and they are graphically designed. So you won't see anything like our shirts anywhere. The concepts are very high quality and for a good price. So we're going to bring on our first guest. Her name is Rachel Jamison Webster. And she came to our attention because she has a book titled Benjamin Banneker and Us, 11 Generations of an American Family. And we haven't discussed Benjamin Banneker. We've discussed a lot of people in history on this show, but not Benjamin Banneker. So I thought it would be a great discussion. And welcome to Black Authors Matter TV, Rachel.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rhonda, for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you both.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
So you are a history professor. Is that correct?
Well, I'm actually an English professor.
Oh, okay.
Who loves history.
Okay. Okay, so you're able to combine the two. And how did Benjamin Banneker, as a subject of a book, what made that come to your mind, in the forefront of your mind, to say, I want to write a book about Benjamin Banneker?
Well, I think we all have books as writers that we know we have to write. This one actually came as a surprise and a gift to me. So it was 2016, and it was the heightened election season of 2016. And I was very disturbed by the polarization of the country at that time, and the conversation, and this rise of a white nationalist point of view that I thought we had moved to the side and done away with a little more. Right around that time, I was at a family reunion, and talking about the other issue of who gets to tell what story, which I think is a really important issue that I'll come back to.
Mhm.
And my cousin Nathan said, well, it's especially interesting given how mixed Americans really are and how many of us have multiracial ancestry, including us. And I thought, oh, okay, what do you mean? Well, we had always known we'd been in the country for a really long time as a family, since before the revolution. And we had always said that we had a strand of Native American ancestry. But it turns out that we had generations of African American ancestry. And my cousin, another cousin, had just found a strand of the family that hadn't been researched that were incredible ancestors. So some of them have moved up into Ohio and argued for the freedom of their children in the 1830s. And they went all the way back to Benjamin Banneker.
Wow.
And so it
Hmm.
was fascinating. And because Benjamin Banneker was renowned in his lifetime as an intellectual and who helped to survey Washington, D.C. as an African
Mhm.
American man, and he published almanacs and he corresponded really bravely with Thomas Jefferson. Because all of that, someone had taken the time to record his ancestry. So we could go all the way back to the 1680s to a Senegalese man, his grandfather, Banaka, and his grandmother, Molly, who was a convict servant from England. So I was fascinated, as you can
I can see
imagine.
why. Yes.
Rhonda, you've written many books, so you know the feeling where you're like, oh, I have to write about this.
Yes.
Yes. But I grew up not knowing about my Black ancestry. So I had a real question of how can I do this ethically? How can I tell this story? Because this is not my cultural history, and he's an important cultural figure for Black people in this country. And I had never even learned about him.
That's interesting. So
Hmm.
you had prior to this, you never had an idea of who Benjamin Banneker was.
No.
So
Hmm.
you've dug into your past, you've done all of this research, and you find out not only do you have African American ancestry, but such an important figure in not just Black history, but American history.
History, exactly. An amazing figure in history. So, of course, I wanted to share his story more widely because I do find Black audiences usually know who he was. And a lot of times outside of those communities, people haven't heard of him, unfortunately. And I feel like he should be as famous as Benjamin Franklin for sure. I mean, he was just a brilliant thinker, and writer and scientist. So yes, I found out about this. I started doing all the research and I didn't feel shocked. The ancestors felt I actually was afraid to write the chapters about him because he felt so great, capital G. But in general, it felt like an alignment, like, oh, this makes sense. It felt familiar to me to be writing their stories. But so I published a tiny essay called White Lies in Fiction, which was basically saying my family knew that we were Americans, but we denied African American genius in our origin story. And this is what's happened in the larger country, to this
That's
denial. And 2 years after it came out, my cousin Edie found this article and got in touch. Edie is a Black woman, a lawyer, a gifted genealogist. And she said, we need to talk about our family.
now, did you know Edie prior to this moment?
No, so
Wow.
Wow.
it was a wow
It
moment. I
was.
mean, when she said that, I just started crying, and she and I both felt like we knew each other. I mean, we call each other sister cousins because there was this resonance between us. It was beautiful. And she had done 40 years of research into the family. And she was kind of like, oh, good, you're a writer. Now you're here. Here you go. So the book became this collective, collaborative experience with Edie Lee Harris, Robert Lett, our cousin, who is also an incredible family historian, but again, a U.S. historian of the family, and then Gwen Marable, who helped to create the Banneker Park and Museum. So they shared their research. We talked about the ancestors, and the book is written so it's every other chapter. It's a chapter about the past, the ancestors, and then it's a chapter that's in the present as a conversation.
Oh, wow. You know, you are correct that Benjamin Banneker is known within Black communities. He's one of the people that we learn about, like in elementary school, when we're learning Black history. He's not as uh, famous or popular as Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King, but he's right in there.
Mhm.
And people really don't know that much about him other than, you know, the factoid about him
Mhm. Mhm.
designing the streets in Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
Um, but he's a name that people have heard in our communities. So I don't know if they're really teaching it now, but I know growing up in the
Mhm.
past, Black history courses taught about him at the elementary school level. That's
And
when
Well,
I
I
learned about him when I was in
I
elementary
have
school.
to admit that growing up, I it's not that we had a whole lot of lessons on Benjamin Banneker. However, because there were schools named after him, I wanted to know who Benjamin Banneker was. That was the first time I had heard his name because there were schools named
Okay.
after him.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I started to research him, and then that's when I found out about his connection to DC and so forth. But I say all of that to say this is why representation is so important. And this is, I truly believe this is why so many schools, especially in the African American community, should be named after certain figures
Yes.
because that's
Yes.
who I found out who Phyllis Wheatley was
Mhm.
because I went to Phyllis Wheatley Elementary School. I wanted to know who these people
Mhm.
were.
Mhm.
That if I'm going to a school that's named after somebody, and I
Right.
just thought it was cool because Phyllis Wheatley had the same name as my mom. My mom's name is Phyllis, so that was that was my first lesson on her. But then as I got to read and recognize these names, and I started to learn more about them, that's when those names started to mean more to me. So I hope that we continue to name schools
I
after these important
agree.
figures.
I agree. And there are so many schools named after Banneker, and the Banneker High School in DC is such an inspiring place. I was there with my cousins last year, and they did a whole program honoring him. And he was a real Renaissance man. He was a scientist. He built a clock as a young man, one of the only clocks in that region. And
Right.
he also wrote poetry. He recorded his dreams in his journal. He was just a really thoughtful person, and he was really inspired by nature. So he loved sitting outside and observing nature and getting insights that way. And one thing that I thought was so special, because he was famous in his lifetime, we had a Quaker woman who was the daughter of his best friend, took the time to interview the family. And so we have stories and names for his family. And so I wanted to write the book also telling the stories of the women. So his mother, Mary Banneker, was a really brave woman in her own right. She was indentured until she was in her 30s just for being multiracial. So they were putting slavery in place in law through women and children. And as soon as she got out, she went to the provincial court to argue against the indenture laws for children to get her children free. And this
Wow.
was a
Oh,
document that surfaced while we were working on the book together. So there were some magical things that really made me feel that the ancestors are close and that they lived through very intense chapters in history like we are now, but they had a way of surviving creatively that was just incredible. So It was fun. It was amazing to see those documents and to go back through the generations and learn about the family.
So Benjamin Banneker was never a slave.
No, he was the son of a land-owning free people of color. He
Okay.
is written down in what we think was his grandmother's will. And this is another fact that Black folks know. It's news to a lot of other people, but sometimes people would put in writing family members if some of the family members were free and some were not.
Mm.
So it does get a little foggy in places, but his grandmother, Molly, who was the indentured servant, actually left him silver. They had 100 acres of land as a family and they were next to Quakers. So they had a level of freedom that was very unusual for that time and then for the time that would come. So his father, Robert, was a really brilliant man who had befriended a prominent Quaker, and I think that's how he ended up with that land.
Okay. Yeah, and a lot of people, for those who don't know, the Quakers, they were against slavery and they were very instrumental in freeing slaves as far as the Underground Railroad and just being active in the abolition movement.
Mhm.
That's interesting. That's something I don't think I knew. So you taught me something
You
tonight,
didn't know
Glenn.
about the
Well,
Quakers? Yeah, they,
I mean, I knew who the Quakers were, but I
well,
don't think
with slavery, yeah, they were
that's what I'm
not.
saying. I did not
Yeah.
know their relationship with slavery. I didn't know that.
mhm.
Oh, okay. It's been depicted in some books. You know, the movie, well, there weren't any real black people in that movie, but no, that was the Amish. I'm getting the Amish and the Quakers mixed up.
Yeah, they're both pretty countercultural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both counterculture groups that were very small, and they kind of lived away from others. They lived
Hmm.
separately. But yeah, the Quakers were. I don't think the Amish were involved in abolition, but the Quakers were for certain. They were
Hmm.
very active with the Underground Railroad. So,
Mhm.
and that took a really certain level of bravery because when people were searching for slaves or free runaway slaves, they didn't care who was protecting them. They would kill whoever was involved. So that took, that took some courage to go against the grain and do.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Rachel, do you live in DC now?
No, I live in Chicago area, north of Chicago. I teach at
Okay.
Northwestern. Are you in New Orleans?
No, I'm from New Orleans, but
Oh,
I live in
okay.
the DC area. That's
You're
why
in
Yeah,
DC.
she's in.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So you
yeah.
have Banneker all over. Yeah.
all over.
He's I always think about him being there and helping to survey that city. And his job was to be up on the highest hill and work the telescope, which was the most advanced technology of that time. And his job was to stay up all night looking through the telescope to make the equations that would then map out the city. And he did that when he was 60 years old. So he was
Wow.
also, and back then that would be,
Yeah,
even
like 80
older.
now, like 80 now.
Probably,
Because the
right.
life expectancy was much shorter
Mm-hmm.
back
Right.
then.
So he had this irrepressible curiosity and this desire to create and be part of the public conversation. And I think the pain of knowing that here we were creating a city on a hill devoted to freedom. And he was the first Black person paid by the federal government for something. So that's something. He was paid for
All
his
right.
time, $2 a day to do the survey. But he knew that they were going to bring in enslaved people to help build these buildings and streets. And so
Mhm.
just that being in that position in history and seeing the country make the wrong decision around perpetuating enslavement, I think that was really devastating. And he continued to create, he continued to do what he could.
Now, I wonder, as I was listening to you tell your story, I'm wondering where did the disconnect happen why so many people later on had no idea about not even just Benjamin Banneker, but even having African American
Mm-hmm.
heritage. I just wonder, where did that fall? Was it a case of people lying, or was it a case of people
Passing.
just not know? Yeah, or maybe passing on and
Yeah,
not.
passing.
Passing.
It was a whole group of siblings. So,
Oh, passing, not passing on, but you mean passing
No,
as in,
passing. She said,
passing as
yeah,
white and hiding
yeah.
yes.
the African ancestry.
Hmm.
So there's a group, we know where it happened. It was a ancestor named Peter Lett, and he left the Lett homestead were a group of descendants that went up into Ohio. And they had a whole group of allied families who were these multiracial and African American families who were farming together, helping each other, and they were arguing for their kids' right to an education. So they were kind of activist families on the frontier saying we deserve this too. And incidentally, the schoolhouse, they won the case to have the schoolhouse on their property, but then townspeople burn it down 3 times. So there were those acts of terrorism, right? For people becoming prominent or becoming outspoken, racialized terrorism. Well, our ancestor Peter left that group and went north. And we think he was working with John Brown, again, an abolitionist, because he went and worked for John Brown's tannery, where they were getting people across the Great Lakes
Hmm.
from Ohio. And this is where my family still is. I grew up in northeastern Ohio. And so they were getting people on boats to get into Canada. And some of the cousins show up. They show up in Ohio. They show up across the lake in Canada. They were moving something. So there's some documentation of this. And then Peter was a laborer at this tannery. His children, and this is now around Civil War time, they all moved to the county where my family still lives. So it wasn't a case of like one person passing and losing their family, which is often the story of passing. This was a whole group of them who moved together. And they sort of sent one of them to the courthouse to declare that all of them were entirely white. So we
Mm.
always laugh that they sent like the palest one because in every family there's a range.
I can imagine.
And
Yeah.
right. So they were passing over to this other, set of rights and privileges. And the sad part is you lose your family. They never went back and saw their dad. He never came back to the Lett homestead. Um, you lose your full history. So,
Right.
um, but even my cousins who are Black, who also share this ancestry, that only one of them had the continuity of knowing the story. The others also had to find it because of various twists and turns in survival. People lost this thread.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh, do you have a copy of your book? I meant to ask you that at the
Yeah,
beginning so we
yeah.
can see what the cover looks like.
Oh,
Oh,
the
right.
cover too. So this is Edie's mother as a little girl.
Oh,
These are our real
okay.
ancestors. This is Gwen, who's 90 years old in the book, and she's like one of my dearest cousin friends. She's amazing. So she's in the book. This is her grandfather. This is a drawing of Benjamin, and these are depictions of maybe Molly. I don't know. She was a working girl, and maybe Banaka. But we wanted to
Okay.
have some of the real ancestors there. And then there's pictures inside of the cousins and some of our reunions that we've had on the land.
I was just going to
Hmm.
ask you, what was that first reunion like? I mean, with the families coming together.
It was beautiful. It was very, very moving. It was weird. I wrote the book during COVID, and so it actually took a while before we could get together in person.
Hmm.
So we would have these weekly or every other week Zoom calls. But in some ways, that just like this, that made even more possible in some ways.
Right.
Like
You
we
kind
were
of felt
able
like
to
you
be
knew
in
each other by the time
conversation.
you came together.
We did. I mean, Edie, it was like she got off the train and we were staying together in Baltimore. And it was like, oh, there she is. We knew each other. And it was beautiful and fun. It was like joyful to be together in person. And then we also did some research together when we got together because I wanted her to go with me to interpret the documents.
Right.
Um, you know, the book was only possible because it became this collective experience in the end. And so we were able to see those documents of Mary arguing for her children's freedom in court. And it was just amazing.
Mm. So you were able to trace 11 generations from Benjamin Banneker or before Benjamin Banneker to now. Is that
Yeah, his
okay? His
grandparents
grandmother.
to
Okay.
my daughter
Oh, okay. 11. Wow, 11 generations. That's
and my
amazing.
niece. Yeah. Because I took them on a road trip as soon as I learned about it, before I even knew I would write a book. I just knew I really wanted to get to know these stories. I took them, they were in fourth grade, which is when you learn a lot of this history, but I still felt I wanted to make sure they weren't just learning white or military history. I wanted to learn some other history. So we did the Great Migration in reverse, and we saw where the ancestors had come to Ohio, and then we went down to the Banneker land, which is amazing because it's still preserved. It's a park and museum in Owella, Maryland, so outside
Oh,
of Baltimore.
Yeah, I've
oh,
heard
that's
of it.
close to
I've
you,
never been
Rhonda.
there. Yeah, I've heard of it. I just have not
Okay.
been there, but I would love to visit. And so now that you've mentioned it, it's in my head now.
Yeah, it's
So I
only a
will be
couple
visiting.
hours from you, right?
Well, I live in the sticks. I
Oh,
live
nice.
in Keek, Maryland. And so you probably haven't
Oh,
even.
okay. So you're probably not that far from it, from Ellicott City area.
No, I'm quite far.
Oh,
I'm closer to DC. I'm in like Southern Maryland.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I mean, there's nothing but a drive. I can do it.
Yeah, it's pretty down there.
Yeah. So we only have a few minutes left. What has been your experience with promoting the book and presenting it to people? Is it being used as a for college courses, or is it more of a trade book? Um,
Hmm.
so
Good
tell us a little bit
question.
about that.
Yeah, I don't think it's been adopted for any courses. I would love if it would be, of course. It's been more positioned as a trade book.
Mhm.
Sharing it and promoting it has been wonderful because I've gotten to meet so many people. I've been in different conversations. I've been in conversations with historians, and there's a lot of people out there who want to write their own family history. So it's a good model for that. And I've just really loved it. You know, writing is so solitary. And
Yeah.
this book was
It
such a
is.
gift because it was much less solitary than usual because my cousins and I collaborated. And at first I was nervous to share it because I was more of an introverted writer. And then I realized, oh, the sharing it is its own creative process. And it's just been wonderful to meet people through the book. And it's been out for a couple years. So I want to thank you for getting in touch. It feels really good to have invitations to keep telling the stories about Benjamin Banneker, but all the ancestors too. It's really wonderful.
Well, it came across our radar somehow recently, so it's still making the rounds in the
Yes.
literary world. And again, we've never discussed Benjamin Banneker on the show. We've never had anybody have a book with, him as the subject. So
Right.
this was something different for us to learn about. And I learned some new things for sure. Um, and I'm sure our audience did as well. And Rhonda learned about the Quakers.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and
Thank
congratulations
you.
on the research and finding your family and putting all that together. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and congrats to both of you on all you're creating with this series and the conference too. It's really exciting.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And we look forward to continuing to stay in touch and seeing how things go with the book.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Okay, have a great night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we're bringing on our next guest, and he goes by last name Picasso, but I'm not sure how to pronounce the first name, and that he goes by.
I saw the name and I didn't know either, so I'm looking forward to hearing.
Yeah, so let's let him tell us. But he has a book, and he's with B.K. Royston Publishing, who's a friend of the show, and he has a book called Poetic Memoirs. So as soon as he comes on screen, I don't know if he logged in and then left, which happens. There he is. Okay, so so now, do you want us to call you S.S. Miller or Picasso? Because we can't pronounce the first name. So you can tell us how it's pronounced. So unmute so we can hear you.
It's pronounced Jose Picasso, but I prefer Picasso.
Okay. All right, Picasso. So now, what made you pick that as the name? What significance does that have? What motivated you to select Picasso, who's known for paintings, not poetry, as far as I know?
Right, because I paint pics with words.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good way to put it. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started writing poetry. What motivates you in poetry? Do you have a certain kind of poetry that you write? You know, poets tend to have some themes that they write around.
Well, I started writing. I fell in love with writing in the 6th grade. And I wrote a couple of stories and personal narratives, and I enjoyed writing them. And then when I got the feedback I got, I was like, yeah, this is meant for me. So also back then I was in a book called Young Authors, but I like and I listen to our poetry. I used to perform in my town, do spoken word and things of that nature. And I listen to Robert Frost. I like Edgar Allan Poe. I'm a fan of writing, period, but I like to write poetry though.
What type of poetry would you say you gravitate toward most?
Uh, it's hard to say because I like spoken word, but then I like different types of poetry because it gives me different feels. I like different type of poetry because I don't like to be boxed in. I like a variety of things because you never know what something's going to do or what kind of thought it's going to provoke or what kind of emotion you will get from it. So, like,
Well, no, I was just saying, totally understandable. I was just wondering if you were more into romantic poetry, if you were into more of the militant type poetry, or is it more like observational? I'm just wondering which one do you find yourself writing most?
I I write out 3 of those, and I more than less, it's all real. It's all real poetry. It's real stuff. It's even when I take like a creative concept and might be talking about the table in the living room and how I flip the whole living room, it still has real content to it. It still has, even though it's metaphor, it's something you can put towards real life, and it's thought provoking and make you think.
Okay. Now, do you have a copy of your book with handy so you can show us the cover? Okay. And what that's your proof. So
Yeah, it's my proof. I don't
is
have
that
the
a
actual book.
chessboard? What is that? Oh, what is that in the cover? A kitchen table? A
No, it's a
desk? A
desk
desk?
in the middle of
It's
the
a
street
desk.
with pens and pencils and paper scattered all
Okay.
on it.
So it's a desk.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's like a metaphor for your creative what happens on your table when you're writing your poetry? You have stuff everywhere.
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes I do. Yes, ma'am. I got loads of books and I collect pens and pencils and things of that nature.
Okay, so is this your first book of poetry?
Yes, yes, ma'am. It is. And thank y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all so much.
Oh,
But
thank
yes,
you
it
for
is
being
my
here.
first book of poetry.
Yeah, well, you can credit Julia Royston with BK Royston Publishing because she's a friend of the show, and from time to time she will recommend one of her authors to the show. And so that's how you ended up being booked for the show. So you're wearing a Kentucky shirt, University of Kentucky. So is that where you went to school?
No, ma'am. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, that's where
I
Julia is, isn't
recognize
it?
that accent. I used to live in
Yeah.
Kentucky myself.
Yeah. And
I
both of
was
y'all
stationed at
authors
Fort
too.
Knox.
Ah, that's nice. Both of y'all
Yeah,
authors too.
Yes,
absolutely.
multi published, both of us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we're big readers.
Ah,
So
yeah.
we were readers before we were authors. And
Right.
That's what made us become authors.
right. All the reading we did, made us a light bulb go off and say, I would like to write about this. And then, well, that's what happened for me. It was a crucible in my life that happened. Something, it was like two things converged. And I had some things that I had wanted to say that I never got to put in a book. Then something happened and it made me write the first book that I did. And then I just kept going after that. So I didn't intend to write but one, but I kept going. So when you write your first book, that means that you've already taken off. You know you can do it. So all of any fear or apprehension is, behind you because you know that it can be done. So then after that, then it's like, what am I going to write about next?
That's nice.
Mhm.
I like it. It's crazy because, like you said, and thank you for BK Royston. She was real sweet, real nice. She made the process real smooth, real easy, and it's just a blessing when you change your frequency. Because, like, if I wasn't an author, we might have never met or never been talking.
Hmm.
So it's just
That's
crazy
true.
how things change for leaping out on faith and taking the step first.
That's true. She's putting out books from her and authors on just really a frightening scale. And every time when she said she did 150 books, she was on because she was on the show a couple of weeks ago, um, just giving us an update, and that was on her, not the authors. It was her personally. That's
Yeah,
a lot of writing. That's a lot of books. But I think her sweet spot or her niche is she writes small books. So it might be a concept, it might be 100 pages. So it's not 300 pages or 400 pages. She's doing concepts that can be encapsulated into 100 pages, more or less. So, that makes it easier. But still, you got to have that many different concepts to
right,
do a
right.
book. So do you want to read some of your poetry to us? Do you have a poem? What's your favorite poem in your book? Please give us one that's clean. And this is the family show. So I'm
Yes,
just
ma'am.
saying, people, hey,
No, you have to say that. And
you
it's
have to
funny,
say,
but you have to say that. But
mhm.
before you read the poems, can you show us the cover? I don't know if I missed it.
No, he did. Showed us it.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
Remember
that's
the
right. I
desk.
remember the desk. I remember.
Mm.
You're right.
Okay.
I forgot about the desk.
Okay. Yeah. So, and how many poems are in this book?
It's
Roughly. Roughly.
roughly. Oh, can't I can't. Ah, yeah, it's roughly like 30 to 40 points.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have it organized by themes or sections, or is it just going from one poem to the next?
No, the table of contents kind of tell its own story, and then when you read the poems and goes into detail, it all flows together.
Now, what do you mean by the table of contents telling its own story?
You want me to read it to you?
Okay.
No, just tell us. Just tell us. No, just tell us.
You'll get it sound better if I read you, not the poem,
No,
but just like some of the table of contents.
no, it'll to me it will be better if you just tell us. Because then
It's
it's coming from here. It's just not like a list. That's just that's my thought.
it's the way I wrote it. Every poem goes together behind each other. It flows together. It's like a story within itself. And then when you read the poems, you go in deeper detail into the story.
Okay, so they kind of there's a chronology to it in terms of they're not just individual poems.
They're
It's
not
like
just random. They're not just random and scattered.
okay, all right. They're telling a story from the first poem to the last.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I get it. So okay, so go ahead and read the table of contents and let us know since it's going in an order, so to help us know where it's going from beginning to end.
Okay, so the first one is poems. Let me, confidence, stand by me, Pinocchio sarcasms, dreams, what is, life, soul, true colors, withdrawals, secret feelings, personal problems, nothing but the best, keep away, clowns, reruns, a man's mental health, I'm okay, emotional silence, depression, self destruct, self betrayal, accountability, L's, waiting on God, I am capable, her love story, lady in disguise, connection, animated, conversate, communicate, don't conversate, creative farmer, giving thanks, what would you do, America, injustice, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Black History.
So it sounds like your table of contents is a poem all in itself.
That's kind of how I just like to be creative and strategic.
I like it.
Also,
It starts you off very interesting from the very beginning, and then it kind of flows into the poems and then expands on each of those basically topics. So
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here for it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
now I sense some autobiographical aspects to your poem. It sounds kind of like uh, some stages that you went through, or someone you know went through.
Yes,
Personally.
ma'am. That's why it's called poetic memoirs. Like some of them is, and then I got a unique feature. I put the times and the dates of when I wrote them.
Oh, okay. So what span of time? When did you write the first one? And then when did you write
Uh,
the last
the first one was wrote January 30th, 2023.
one? Okay. So that's at the beginning of the year. In Kentucky, it's probably snow on the ground.
Yes. And the last one was wrote February 25th, 2021 at 7:43 p.m.
So they're not in chronological order because the first poem was written after the last poem.
Yes, ma'am.
You put them in the
You
order
put
in
them
which
in
they make sense.
right,
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Yeah. So okay. So do you want to give us a sample of
Yes,
one of your
ma'am.
poems?
I
Okay.
prefer to give y'all confidence.
Okay. Confidence. All right.
To feel, believe, and have a firm trust. Keep going, you must, even if it's not making no dust. Opinions blocked by a divine force field. I'm smiling on a mission, there's nothing to discuss. I see it clear whether they do or not. I prepare, strategize, plan, and plot. Equipped and organized, you can feel it in my vibe and see it in my eyes. self-assured confidence on the surface, infatuated love, a weird type of lust, fueled by purpose. The outcome is colossal, so yes, sometimes I do get nervous. But not only am I manifesting my dreams, I'm doing and providing a service. That's the end of it.
Okay, now were you reciting it
Yes, ma'am.
from memory? Because it didn't
Yes,
look
ma'am.
like you were reading.
No, ma'am, I wasn't reading. Ma'am.
Okay, no, I was just, no, because some poets, sometimes when you ask, they read out of the book, but
Mhm.
you didn't look like you were reading. Well, you definitely weren't reading it out of the book, but you could have had it on your screen, but your eyes weren't moving. I was watching. Your
Yeah.
eyes weren't going from like here to here. When somebody's reading on the screen, their eyes move or their head moves. You were just, you were looking up or straight. So
That
I
comes
could
from,
tell you were reciting.
yes, ma'am, it comes from performing and stuff like that. So I prefer to memorize and recite my poems. I don't prefer to read them off the paper.
So do you plan to stay in the poetry space, or do you think you'll expand to a full-length novel?
Uh, no, ma'am, I love all things writing. So I already got like, I probably got about 4 or 5 book ideas already. And I got one that I previously started that I sat down. I just finished this one. I got a little science fiction thing I got going on. It's different, and I like horror. So
Oh my, horror. Okay.
horror is a hard one to write. So I've been working on that, doing some research and studying. But like so I do construction by day. I'm a HVAC worker.
Okay.
So that means heating and air,
Oh,
I
right?
know what
So
HVAC is.
yeah, my
for the people
husband
that
had
didn't
an
know.
HVAC business
You'll be
when I met
mansplaining
him. He
us.
was in business doing HVAC. So I
But
know
for
what
the viewers
HVAC
that might
means.
not have known, you know.
But
So
but where I live in Houston, HVAC means your AC has to be working.
yes,
Because you
ma'am.
could, when it's in the wintertime, you could do without heat because it doesn't get that cold. But unless we have like an aberration, like we had the deep freeze a few years ago. But when it starts to get hot in Houston, you have to have AC, period. And you're
Yeah.
willing to pay whatever it takes because it is a miserable thing to be in a house where you got your windows open but there's no air. It's just it's miserable. Um we had a hurricane barrel 2 years ago, 2 summers ago.
Hmm.
No, it was last summer. It was the summer of last year. So we were out, power was off like wide everywhere. Like it started with 1 million people out of
That's
power.
right.
Yeah,
That's
and
wild.
then yeah, so we had ours off for 4 days in July. In
Ah,
the
yeah, it's no
beginning
good.
of July. You talk about some misery. It's just, you can't and nighttime is worse because you can't sleep.
Right, right.
So I respect the HVACs because in Houston you have to have AC in Houston, and it starts to get hot in April. Like in April, it's 80 degrees. So like right now in Houston, this October, it's 85 degrees.
That's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
about 70 from here.
yeah, and
But it
then
usually
it'll
would have been cold by now here, but it ain't got cold yet.
yeah, we don't get snow. We get some snowflakes about every 10 years or something like that. Some flurries and they melt as soon as they hit the ground. And then we only get that like every it's a if they get a prediction there could be snow, they close the schools.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they
But
have
then
to. They have to.
they're not used to that snow like you and I are.
Right. The
Right,
driving,
right.
you don't want to be on the roads with these drivers. Nobody has snow tires or anything like that because we don't get snow. So, and people can't drive. Then they speed, not realizing when the temperature drops, it's iced over. You can't see that black ice. So
Yeah, the black
anyway,
ice is crazy.
I know about the HVAC. So you do that by day and you're a poet by night.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So do
ma'am.
you perform like at where do you perform at? Where do people do spoken word? Different places.
They do
Nightclub, is it-
open mics, clubs. Some people have. We had a
Okay.
little poetry scene here, and I used to perform all the time, but I have been so focused on the book and working on it and typing it up and stuff like that. I hadn't performed in a while, but since I got the book and everything, I'm looking to get back out there, looking into some more shows and really looking into going on the road probably this summer to some different cities and some different places because so people outside your city support you more than people in your city sometimes.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's biblical.
Yeah, I just seen that about Jesus when they said that verse. I didn't even know
Yeah.
it was in the Bible. It just came
Yeah.
across my algorithm and I seen that.
Yeah.
Yep, it
Yeah.
is definitely biblical.
It's true. It's true. I
Said he
think
couldn't
people
do
that are
the
close to you, they take you for granted, you know,
right,
and then sometimes they don't appreciate it until you've been validated somewhere else. And then it's like you can come
Mm-hmm.
home and get some love after that.
right.
So with the open mics, do you get nervous when you do your poetry, or you totally relaxed? Do you
No,
do competitions? Do you do competitions like where they have
I get
have a
I get a little nervous sometimes. Every once in a while, I get a little nervous. And I had to breathe, take a couple deep breaths, but I just go out there and perform. And I used to do competitions, but I don't no more because I'm not in competition with nobody. And then I've seen a lot of competitions be goofy, and I don't
goofy?
got no.
They be goofy.
Yeah, it be goofy.
No, what you mean they be goofy?
Like they have other people in it. The host will be talking about like I did this when I helped develop this one. I'm so proud of her. I like one time I said my little stuff and I was getting off stage and people liked it and one of the hosts said, "Y'all like that little shit?"
Oh,
That
It was for
sounds like a host. That sounds like a little hating host. Mm-hmm.
and it was for like 1,500 and we don't play about the money around here, so I just don't do the competition. They trigger me sometimes. And
I
I'm
mm,
not in
understand.
competition with nobody.
yeah.
I
We
understand.
years ago with our event, we used to do a poetry slam.
Well, the
Um,
poetry community is very small. I mean,
it
they
is.
know each other.
Yeah, and they know it's a group that knows it's like a niche. It's a special niche and it's a special bond. But it was always a lot of drama with the poetry slam. That's why we stopped doing it. It was because we would actually give a cash prize, and the judges would be self-selected from the audience. They would just say who wants to be a judge, who would like to be a judge, and so.
Right,
But it was always people if they didn't win, they would get upset. So, and when you have a competition, only one person can win. No, it's
right,
no participation trophies. It's just, when
right,
you're competing, you have to consider that you might not win. That's yeah.
right. I didn't mind losing. I just didn't like the extra stuff.
Yeah,
I
well,
get it.
if the announcer or whoever the host is clearly biased, you want your host to be fair at least,
Right,
or at least appear to be neutral and unbiased
right,
to make it fair.
right.
Because otherwise, now one thing about doing a book of poetry, you have to perform. People will buy your book when you perform your poems.
Right,
That's what we found. The poets that we have that come to our book event, if they are able to perform their poetry, it makes people want to buy the book.
There's different types of poetry, though. There's some poetry that is not going to resonate well as spoken word. And then there's some poetry that sounds better as spoken word. You feel it more as spoken word than you would just reading it.
Reading it, that's
So
true.
yeah, so there is a balance. Do you plan to? I know you said that you just love to write, and so I know you have some book ideas. but you're going to stay with poetry though, right? You're going to do poetry as well?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm a always like I got a the second book is really almost done.
good.
So
Good.
I just got
That's
that
the
in it.
mark of a writer. You always
Yeah,
have a book that's going to be coming out soon.
yeah. So the second
Rhonda has a
poetry
book that
book,
comes out soon. She has a new book coming out too.
Yes,
uh,
I do.
Hmm.
what's it called?
I'm
What's it
sorry.
called?
Oh, okay. It's called Surprise Swipe Right, and it's about a woman whose daughter secretly puts her on a dating app because she wants her to have a date for New Year's Eve.
So that sound good. I like the title too.
That sounds
Yeah.
like some drama. Now, Rhonda, this is I know you're not supposed to be being interviewed, but
Yeah. Yeah.
did you have your mom in mind when you wrote your book? I've been wanting to ask you that.
I actually did put my mom on a dating app once, so
Oh, okay.
It's nothing like the story though. This is a totally
Uh,
made up story though.
okay. Okay. We have to revisit that another time. I have to find
Yes.
out the backstory on that later on. So I wanted to let you know that you had some people who responded to you being on the show. Somebody named Nina Jones Stampas. She said Nina Jones is watching.
Okay, nice.
And
And
Brittany
Brittany
Spencer
Spencer. Hmm.
Oh yeah,
said,
that's my little sister. She's
yeah.
always supportive.
Oh, she
Oh,
said she
okay.
miss you.
Yeah, she's like my secretary. It's because I've been so busy focused on this, I ain't had no time to go kick it or nothing like that.
Well,
So yeah.
don't forget the little people when you sitting here trying to blow up, okay?
Nah, I ain't gonna forget the little people. She she knows me. She knows I enjoy my alone time and stuff like that. But then when I get done taking care of business and free up time, I always come and see her and kick it with her and the
That's
kid.
good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes when you're trying to get a book finished, you kind of have to just zero in on finishing it.
yes,
Otherwise,
ma'am.
it'll just never get done. You know, it just be
Yeah,
a book I'm working on and there's no end to it. There's no one, the book needs to come out and that's a process. So, congratulations on getting that done and show the book cover one more time for the audience. So the
thank
book is
you.
available now, Poetic
Yes,
Memoir.
it's available now on Amazon. She just uploaded it on Kindle. And you
Okay.
can find me all my social medias, YouTube, IG, and TikTok is Soze Picasso. It's Soze Picasso, Picasso.
And it's on the screen. So your name is on the screen. So they
Yeah,
can see that there, how to spell it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show and congratulations on your first book and keep getting out there sharing your poems.
thank you. I appreciate y'all, and thanks for having me. I followed y'all page, and I enjoyed the interview. And again, thank you for having me. It means so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. We enjoyed talking with you as well.
Thank you.
Have a
Nice
great
to meet
night.
you. Okay.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So Rhonda, you said your book will be out at the festival or you'll have some advanced copies or
Yes, I'm
at
going
the
to have
festival.
advanced copies at the festival. I'm also going to be a special guest at my wine club's having their 2-year event, and they asked me to be the guest author, and everybody who attends is going to get a copy of the book. So they'll be the first people with the book. Then the
Oh,
next set of people who will have the book will be at the National Black Book Festival, and then the actual release date is going to be October 28th, which is the Tuesday after the festival.
okay. All right.
And it's already ready. It's already available for pre-order on Amazon.
Okay.
And well, the ebook is. The print book will be available in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, well, congratulations on getting your book done and with all the
Thank
other stuff
you,
that you're doing.
girl.
Uh,
Mhm.
I I'm still working on mine, and so I had to put my release date off because I want to do it right, and I didn't want to
Yeah, that's
rush.
the good thing about being independent.
Yeah,
That's why I don't worry about looking for an actual agent and publisher, because when I need to put off the date, I can put off the date.
right.
Yeah, I
And
don't
it's
have
a
to worry
lot of
about that.
pressure because those deadlines are real when you're with
Oh,
a publishing
absolutely.
company.
Absolutely.
And um, you know, when you rush to write a book, here's the thing: a lot of people's first books, they took years to write.
Yeah.
But then if you get signed with a big publisher, then that next year you got to write another book in a short period of time. And so a lot of times that second book, it just doesn't compare for some writers. And
Hmm.
as a reader, it's noticeable to me. I can tell when the second book or the third book was just like rushed because they had to finish for a deadline. So the publishers are in the business of selling books, and so they need them turned out. Um,
Exactly.
but for readers, I like quality, and so, but I support whoever's doing good work out here in the literary world. And you all know my favorite genre, which is historical. So,
Hmm.
historical fiction. So, um, we're having our next guest, and Radiah Hubbert. I think I pronounced her name correctly. She has been on the show before, but I believe, and I didn't get a chance to look up the date, but I think it was the first year of the show when she came on. She hasn't been
I
on.
thought she'd been actually on a couple of times, hadn't she?
I, I don't think so.
Really? Oh, maybe I'm
But
just thinking
okay,
about
wait
the
till
first
she comes
time.
on and she'll tell us. But
But no, maybe I'm just thinking about the first time she was on the show.
okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Well, hello
Randy. How
there.
are
Well, you
you?
you help us out. How many times have you been on the show?
I think I've been on, it seems like it at least twice, I know, because I know the first time when you guys gave me the Black Authors Matter t-shirt. I still wear that too. And then it was another one and then I was on recently, like a couple of months ago, I think. And so I think that this would be the third time. I
Okay.
But
think.
were you
Oh,
on for an anniversary show?
wait, yes, I was. Yes, so I was
Yeah,
on.
so
That's
you weren't on as like an individual guest.
Oh, it was like a no. This was this was the
Yeah.
anniversary. Yep, the anniversary show. Hmm.
Okay, yes, because we had a lot of people on that night. So
Hmm.
so I was correct. She's been on once for an individual interview.
Yeah,
Well, I
one.
think we were both correct because she's been on twice.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll concede that. So anyway, and Randy, you've been out here a long time reviewing books and
Yes.
urban reviews. When did you start urban reviews?
Um. Uh-oh. Let me think. 2005. I had started reviewing books, and well, I was reviewing books before that, but the website started in 2005. It was with me and my late husband at the time. He was actively reviewing music, and then I was reviewing books. So we did music and books. But then as time progressed, it was probably within, I would say, the first year, maybe. He saw how big it was getting as far as reviewing books, and then he was kind of dissatisfied with the music that was coming out. So he was like, I don't know if I want to review music right now. He said he was getting dissatisfied with the music. But then also, he was saying that because at the time we had our mailing address out there, like, hey, if you want to read, if you want these books, if you want your books reviewed and everything, send us books. And some people were sending us their whole catalog. I said, okay, so now wait a minute. That's when I started doing like a reviewing process. So I believe like within maybe like probably the end of the first year, he was like, well, hey, we'll just stop with the music and just do the reviews, the book reviewing, because he saw that it was it just gotten to be so large, as far
Yeah.
as reviewing. the reviewing the books, and so we just decided to go ahead, and then it just morphed into what Urban Reviews is today. So
So I didn't realize it had been 20 years, but 20 years goes by fast.
It really does go by fast.
It's amazing. But I know your husband has passed, and I think 10 years or so.
It was 2013.
Okay. So but I am in agreement with him spiritually about the decline of music. As a matter of fact, Rhonda, at the festival, at the reception, we have a new game. We used to have a game for Black History, so we would throw out a fact and then people could see who the name was. But we have a new game that I created. This game, actually, I did this at my daughter's bridal shower, and it went so well. I said, you know what, we're going to do this at the festival. So the game is 60s, 70s, and 80s jams, R&B jams. And because those are the 3 decades where music was the best, and it went downhill after that. So, and that's a fact. It's not, and I stand by it. So, it'll be a name of a song, and then the person has to name the artist. And we have cards. So each of those facts is on a card, and we have prizes. So the person who collects the most cards gets the first pick of the prizes. And then it goes, the second person who has the second most cards gets the second pick. And the prizes will be good prizes. So it's kind of checking people's IQ on good music, and I'll call it real music, and I don't like being cussed at when I'm listening to a song. And so that eliminates most of the stuff that comes out now. Seems like every time I try to listen, I'm being cussed at, and I just can't. I will not. So I agree with your husband about that. And it was around then. I mean, it was the 90s had some stuff, but it started to be more computer driven, more digital, not, eliminating the bands, and everything's in the studio, and the person, when they perform, they may or may not be able to sing. So in live, they could sing in the studio, but when they would get on stage, you don't know what you're going to get. So anyway, that's my diatribe about music. So, but I wanted to let Rhonda know about the game, because she comes to the reception. And so you might want to participate. It's fun. It's fun. You know who won at the bridal shower? My daughter, because she was raised on old school music. That's all I play in my car. So she didn't even hear rap till she was about 9, and she went to school and somebody introduced it to her. She grew up on old school music, so she knows all those artists and all those songs. So she actually did win the game. So anyway.
Well, I've got to say thank you and your husband for what you were doing with promoting art. Whether it was books or whether it was music, you were promoting great art. So thank you for that. And you continue to do that. So thank you. Thank you again for that.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Now, what's kept you going? A lot of people quit. They do something for a little, a minute, and then they quit. But you've been doing this since 2005. This 20 years. So what's kept you going?
Well, I mean, I've always been an avid reader before this. So, before I even started the website. And so what's kept me going is that I really like, so reading has always been like my hobby. And so the thing is that that's what keeps me going. Then there's always new authors that come out. And then I just see that it's I don't see it as a side business, but my tax person, she said, yes, it is. So, the thing is that it always, so the thing is that, so this is like my, I call this like my my hobby job or my second, my passion job. So the books are really like a passion of mine. Like I like discovering new authors, and then also I just think that it's still important, like to amplify Black voices, as far as authors and everything, Black authors, especially now with everything that's going on in the country and everything else. But what motivates me is that, we still, even though we are making, authors are making strides in different bestseller lists and different things like that. It's still important, to go ahead and promote as many Black authors as possible and as many genres as possible. So that's what keeps me going, is that, there's so many, there's never, there's never a time where there's like, okay, so now there's nobody releasing a book or whatever. Right. So there's always, a plethora of people, and people probably that are out now that I don't even know, that I discover like every day and everything. So that's what keeps me going, is that there's, and then also, to introduce readers, to new books and everything as well. So that's what keeps me going, is that, okay, there's always something to read. And then books never expire. Right. I remember a long time ago, I did used to have, for years, actually before the pandemic, I used to always have, okay, if you want your book reviewed, it would have to be it would have to be released within the last 6 months, the last 12 months. But when the pandemic came, I was really thinking about this, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to take that off. I was just saying to myself, because I saw people, the pandemic changed a lot of things, but I saw a lot of people, like during the pandemic, they were like, well, hey, I had this book sitting here for 5 years or whatever. Why don't I just go ahead and just release it or whatever? And I was thinking to myself, you know what? Books really don't have an expiration date. Yeah. So I said,
we give them expiration dates. We like, oh, that book is 2 years old. Nobody wants to read that. But there's so many people in the country who've not even heard of that book, and it's new to them.
Right. That's why I just took that off, because I said, okay, even if a person, because I've had people, they're like, okay, well, my book came out 5 years ago. I said, yeah, but everybody doesn't know about your book, so it's new to them. Like anybody's book, it can be new to someone. So that's why I said, okay, right, let me take this off, because it was so many people that were saying, well, hey, I've had this book for a while. I released it before, I want to release it again, or something like that. So books have no expiration date. So that's why I took that off, so that everybody can, get a chance and everything.
Yeah, and that is true. And the industry has changed since 2005, because then the self-published industry, the indie industry, was really in its infancy. Mm-hmm. But now it's really just full-blown explosion. It's a whole lot more independently published books than there are traditionally published with publishing houses. It's probably 100 to 1. It's tons of self-published books out there now. So, and you do accept self-published books, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It's a lot. Yes, self-published and traditionally published, and sometimes you don't even know that they're self-published either. Now,
yeah, if they're done well, yes,
yes, they're very done
really
well.
Have mastered it.
Yes, and then as far as marketing and everything,
yes,
and marketing, and then you just remember, because it used to be a time when self-publishing was in its infancy, and then sometimes you could tell, sometimes you can't. This time, a lot of times you cannot tell, and you're just like, oh, wait a minute, this person's self-published. Or a lot of people, they're hybrid authors, they're self-published, and then they have like right, publishers, traditional publishers too, which is cool too, because they get a chance to like do something self-published, and then they'll have like traditional books coming through traditional, releasing through traditional houses too, which is cool too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when the publishing houses, at first they had a restriction on that. Like once you signed with them, you couldn't self-publish. But I think they realized that was a flawed approach, and they relaxed it. So they allow people to do it now. But at first, once you sign with them, you couldn't do anything independently. Mm-hmm. So the industry has changed quite a bit. Now, you have other people who review books, or you have a team of reviewers.
Yes, I do have a team of reviewers. They change all the time. Well, they change sometimes because everybody has everybody has things going on and everything. So I mean, there's always, so yes, I always have like a team of reviewers. I think I have about 4 now. So a team of reviewers. So yeah, so it's me and then other people, and then I try to not accept every book. Like now, it's a lot of times where a lot of publishing houses, you get on NetGalley and then they go ahead and I'm on some people's automatic list, as far as NetGalley. Right. And you see there's another book coming, and then you're like, oh, let me accept it. But now before I accept it, I ask some of my reviewers, like, okay, some of my reviewers are on NetGalley. I'm just like, okay, so now who's reviewing this book? Now I ask now, because I don't want to accept too many books and then I have to review them, because it's not like NetGalley. You can't share it. So it's not like I can just pass it on to my reviewers like I could do with I still get some books in the mail too, like a lot of self-published, and then sometimes I'll get some from the traditionally published too, where they'll actually send a physical book in the mail. But like with NetGalley, I just have to say, okay, so no, I'm not going to accept this one, even though I want to. I always think about that. And every time I look at a book, I'm like, no, I cannot review every book. And I'm like, okay, I'll put this to the side and then see if somebody else wants it. But that's the thing with NetGalley, because you can just go on there and just look and see coming out. Let me click on this. Let me click on this. And I'm like, no. So it's so many books, so little time still, even now.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of quality books being published, which is good. There's a whole lot of books, but there's also a lot of quality books. And that's a good thing. So if someone wants to be a reviewer, are you accepting reviewer applications for people who may want to review books with Urban Reviews?
Not right now. Probably at the first of the year, I'll do that. Like at the first of the year, I'll probably open it back up, but not right now. But I'll probably open it back up in January. I was thinking about that. Yeah, January is just around the winter.
Yeah. Yeah. Once Halloween gets here, the year's over. It's over. Because November and December go by so fast. Right? Once Halloween is done, you may as well say New Year's Eve, because it's just so fast. It's so much going on during the holidays, and it goes by really fast. Then we're into a new year. It'll be 2026 before you know it.
Yeah, that's why I said the beginning of the year. I'll do that, because there's too many things going on during the holiday season.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. Now, if someone wants their book reviewed, what is your process for accepting a book for review?
Okay, so they would just have to send me they would have to send me a first chapter sample. And the only reason why I ask for a first chapter sample is because I want to see how the book is. Usually you can see how the book is going to go. Well, you can see like the style of a person's writing and everything else in the first chapter. That's why I always ask for like a first chapter sample, and then I read it, and then I'll say, or if it's not like a book that I would think that I would want to read, I will pass it to one of my reviewers and say, well, hey, is anyone interested in this and everything? And then I go ahead and I let people know that, okay, yes, it is accepted for review. You can send it by, ebook, or you can send like a physical copy and everything. But yes, I usually say chapter 1, because in the beginning, I had people send a simple chapter, and sometimes it would be in the middle of the book. Like they would send like chapter 10 or
They're
something.
trying to give you the juiciest part.
Yeah, and so I'm like, wait, so that's why I always tell them like the first chapter sample. So because I was like, okay, because what if you give me, because people they give me the middle of the book, and I'm like, okay, wait, what's happening? So
Well, now, when you say the first chapter sample, do you mean the entire first chapter or just a certain amount of pages?
well, the entire first chapter.
Okay.
Yeah, the entire first chapter.
Now, what if a person has a short first chapter?
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, because usually the short first chapter and then the prologue sometimes is fine. So
Okay.
if people have like a short first chapter, it'll be like a prologue too. And then, the description of the book sometimes gets me too. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is fine.
Okay. Then that's true. Because in my two novels, the first one, I don't have a prologue. But in the second one, I do have a prologue. So
Now, do you have a turnaround time? I mean, is it like a few months, a few weeks?
Okay,
The next day?
Right now it's a few months. It's like I think on the website right now, I have like I said it's a 6-month turnaround. Sometimes it could be longer than that, but right now I was saying it was a 6-month turnaround because it was just a lot it's a lot going on sometimes. And I just like, okay, sometimes it could be 6 months. Right now it's 6 months, but it could be shorter than that.
Well, that leaves my book out. My book is a holiday book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's a yeah. So it could be a 6-month turnaround, or it could be shorter than that, because it depends on like if I'm reading it or if I have to send it out to a reviewer and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I say 6 months. But then I tell people, I say, okay, it's a 6-month turnaround, but it could be shorter.
Well, I'm gonna send it to you, but I won't look for my holiday review until April.
or longer. Because it's that for mine.
Because it depends on what's going on with. Because sometimes it could be different stuff going on with That's why sometimes I ask people, like if it's a physical copy, to send 2, because I'll go ahead and give away 1. But if somebody has a review, if a reviewer has a book or something is going on where
right.
They something's going on where it's taking them longer to read it or something, or if something happens and for some reason, I mean, life's for a lot of people. So
life is life.
Yeah. So if it is, sometimes I'll just take it. I'll just be like, okay, I'll review it. I'll take it because I have a copy of it or whatever. So I'll do that. But no, okay, if it's a holiday book, okay, no, you can send it.
Well, I'm gonna send it to you tonight because I need to give you time.
You might have the holiday review by the next holiday season. So then the timing could be okay.
No, if it's a holiday review, I'll do it. Yeah.
But you know what? It's a service that you don't charge for. So beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. That's why I say you do it when you can do it. But no, I do know you said that you probably won't be looking for new reviewers until January, but the Social Book Club asked what your qualifications for a reviewer are.
Oh, okay. So a reviewer, I mean, there's really no qualifications. You do have to be an avid reader. And then I do ask for like a sample, like a review sample. Your review does not have to be long or anything. It just has to be no spoilers, of course. But the thing is that I do ask for like a sample review, like have you ever reviewed before? Or if you can just do like a sample review. Like let's say you've never reviewed before, like on Amazon or anything else. Just review just do like a sample review, like how would you like this book? It can be like it doesn't even have to be like 2 paragraphs or anything. It could just be at least like a short paragraph or something, because I am posting this on, not only on Urban Reviews, but I also post it on Amazon. But then I do put, even when I post on Urban Reviews online, I say like who reviewed it and everything. And now, with social media, I have to post on Instagram, TikTok. What else? It's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I say Twitter, but I'm really not on Twitter like that anymore. But I mean, it's
what about Pinterest?
Oh, somebody mentioned that the other day. They said, you can post on Pinterest too, and I always forget about them. I always look at
I
Pinterest
know
for stuff.
I've been horrible about Pinterest, but there's a whole audience on Pinterest that we have not tapped into. We got to get
It
on it.
is? Oh, wow.
Yes.
So
It
I
it's
is
never
all,
go
a
on
lot of
there.
people. The first thing they do is go to Pinterest. When
oh,
they're
wow.
looking
What's
for
on there?
yeah.
What's
Yeah,
on
They do.
Pinterest?
so what's on there? See, the way I can describe Pinterest is that most apps want you to stay on. You get credit for staying
Yeah.
on the app. Pinterest is the only app that really wants you to leave the app. They are showing you pictures and samples and ideas for you to click on there and go to people's websites or go
Oh,
to people's blog
yeah.
posts.
Because that's what I do when I look at recipes and stuff, and it goes to
Exactly. Exactly.
okay.
You go on Pinterest, you find a
Okay.
recipe you like, you click on it, and it takes you to that person's website.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. See, I
Okay.
never thought about that. That's just how I got on TikTok, because somebody a couple years ago, when Clubhouse was big and everything, they were
I remember that.
like,
The
yeah, they were
Clubhouse
like,
place.
well, hey, they were like, you guys don't, I forgot who it was. They were like, well, hey, authors, don't forget, to join TikTok and post on there. I was like, people post book stuff on there. So when I went on TikTok and everything, I saw all these authors and readers too, and
Hmm.
everything else. And I said, oh, okay. And so that's when I started posting stuff on there, and then like my new releases and upcoming releases and reviews and everything. But yes, now it's another one with Pinterest. I never even thought about posting anything on there. I used to post periodically, like maybe like one graphic about my book fest or something, but I never really been on there for that though,
Hmm.
like as far as the book stuff. But yeah, that's interesting. See, you learn something new every day.
There you go. Now, I know we only have a few minutes left. You just mentioned your book fest. Your book fest is coming up. I've already seen your graphics for it. You already have your featured authors. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so it is the 18th annual Great Midwest Book Fest. It is on Saturday, June 20th of 2026. The featured authors is Phyllis Dixon. She's from here, even though she lives in Memphis. She's from here. It's Sandra, and then Monica Garner. And I put and more because the author table, so those are the featured authors, but the author tables, it's going to be the open call for author tables. The sign up for author tables is going to be on January 17th at 10 o'clock a.m. And what I tell people is that it's called an open call because it really is open. So what I tell people is that there is an open call list. So what you would have to do is, it be an open call list. So it's Radiah at urban-reviews.com. For more information about the open call, you can go to greatmidwestbookfest.com. It tells you about how much the vendor tables are. It tells you more about the event and everything. And the reason why I encourage people to sign up for the open call list is because when the open call opens, I actually email that list first before I put it on social media. So
Okay.
as tables. So
Okay. Well, your event is on my birthday next year,
oh
June
happy
20th. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
June 20th.
It's funny because
So,
my birthday is actually June 4th. I remember years ago I actually had the book fest. It actually fell on my birthday one year.
oh, okay.
Somebody
Yeah.
else, it was like, why would you have your book fest on your birthday? This was years and years ago. I said it just felt like that for some reason. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, it's but yeah, I'm a June baby too. So
Yeah. Well, we
I'm a
all
June
three
baby
are.
too. Mine is June 29th, so it's
yep,
after
I know.
your event. And I
Yeah,
think I participated in your event one time when you had it online because of COVID. And
yeah,
I participated in your event that year, but I really would like to come do it in person. So I might have to take part in your open call.
sure,
Now,
we
where
would
is
love
it?
to have
Where is
you.
it located exactly?
It's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so the address is called the Exchange Event and Creative Space. It's 3334 North Holton Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And It's a Black-owned business too. Event. It's a husband and wife team, and so I think this is the third or fourth time we've had it there. So it's very, it's very good. It's in the middle of the, it's in the middle of the city, easy to get to, and everything. So.
Okay. Yeah, the Milwaukee part, I couldn't remember exactly what city it was in. So I've only been in Milwaukee once, for a conference. And that's been a few years ago. So but it's good to see that you're around, because you started your event similar timing to when we did, because this year is our 18th anniversary for the National Black Book Festival.
And you guys have, and good luck with it, because you guys have a good, well, you guys always have like a good lineup, but man, I was looking at the lineup the other day. I was like, man, I wish I could get down there. You look at all these people's events and you wish you can go to all of them. I was like, because I told one of my friends, I said, do you see who they have? I said, they got both. I said, they have Beverly Jenkins and Brenda Jackson. I said,
we have been trying to get them together here. It's been 15 years. So they were here in Houston at our event 15 years ago together. And they haven't been to Houston together since then.
I mean, just that alone. And the other authors too. The mystery person you have, Rachel
Housel Hall, and then Brandon Massey.
She's one of my favorites too. And I was like, oh, they got everybody. So yeah.
Well, we have to work a year out. It was a year and a half pre-booking to get Brenda and Beverly.
Yeah.
Because we would keep reaching out like a year in advance, and they would always be booked already.
Yeah.
So, you have to start with people who, and they don't travel as much. They've gotten older.
Well, that's why I was going to say
travel as much.
Yeah.
As they're
slowing down with the traveling. Yeah. So you have to get in there. Yeah.
Right. And Beverly especially, she said she doesn't do 2 weekends in a row. So then that eliminates a lot of stuff. So we were fortunate that we were able to get them. We're excited about that. And we've gotten a lot of people who definitely are coming for the two of them. And then, Eric LaSalle doesn't, he's an actor, but he's also an author. He has a series of mystery series, and he doesn't do a lot of book events. So he has a new book coming out, the 4th in the series next year. So the way that I pitched it was, I said, okay, he's got these other 3, and the Black community may not even know. A lot of people don't even know he's an author. So it's a way for him to sell these and pitch the fact that he has another one coming out next year. And it must have resonated, because they said yes. So you have to come up with different angles, and sometimes because people are busy, and sometimes you have to, like we already have the authors for 2026 already booked for the featured ones for next year, because we have to start so early. So anyway, we're at the end of our time, Radiah. This has been really, really great connecting with you, having the whole time to talk about your reviews. And anybody who wants to get their book reviewed, Rhonda put the website in the chat.
Yes. I put the website in the chat for Urban Reviews online, as well as the Midwest Book Fair. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, I want to thank both of you ladies for having me on again and everything. This was fun.
Oh,
well, we always enjoy having you, and I will be in touch, because I really would love to be able to do your event. So I'll be reaching out very soon, and I got to get you my book tonight.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah, she's been doing her event as long as we've been doing ours. So and that's, it's not a lot of longevity in the event space. The events come and go. So our last guest is Cynthia Green, and she is an author under the She Publishing LLC umbrella, and she has an interesting book that was inspired by her son. So I don't know if I've ever heard of promoting deaf awareness, but her son was born with a severe hearing loss, and that kind of motivated her to write her series. So, Cynthia Green, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, ladies. Welcome. And thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Yeah.
for being here.
Thank you.
Do you have a copy of your book with you?
I sure do.
Okay.
I have, this is my first edition, You're No Different Than Me. And then the next one is Martell's Got Game.
Okay.
Hold it up a little bit higher.
Yeah, so we can see the whole
There
cover.
we go.
Yeah, there we go. This beautiful illustration on the cover. Now, is
Thank
that
you.
your son? Is that a depiction?
Yes,
of
it actually is. I have some personal pictures on the back.
Okay.
When he was growing up. He's actually a grown man now.
Oh, okay. He's grown. How old is he now?
Oh, my son is 39 now.
Oh, he's a real grown man.
Yeah, he's a real grown.
Okay.
He's a real grown man.
But it doesn't matter how old they get.
It doesn't.
They're still yours.
Exactly. I've been holding this story for years.
That's great. So, what is the name of the? Was it a disease, a particular disease?
No, actually, it was not. Martell was born with a severe hearing loss. I didn't find out until he was about 2, just going on 3. I found out of his hearing loss, because back then they did not do just random tests for newborns for hearing.
Okay.
I had to convince doctors that there was actually an issue.
Okay. And do you have other children?
I do. He has an older sister.
Okay.
3 years. There's no history in the family or anything. It's just, God's will. It's something that happened. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me, if you remember that episode of Good Times, when they thought that the young man, they thought he might have had some issues, or he might be slow or something, because he was not responsive.
That is
and
so
then kind
true.
of find out that it was actually a hearing problem. The boy was very smart, but he had a hearing problem. And that, I think in those days, that may have been how they found out that their kids may have had a hearing problem.
And his mother did not want to accept that he had an issue. Yes. Yeah. But I found out when he was just about 3, and we got the hearing aids, and he's been full force, ever since. He does fully sign, and he reads lips very well.
Okay. I don't remember that episode of Good Times, but I haven't seen the show like in a long time. Like, they have it on probably Tubi or Hulu.
Yes, I'm sure.
No, I've seen what I have seen. Well, this is different actors, but Amen, which was an offshoot. Well, the actor Sherman Hemsley was on The Jeffersons.
That's true.
But I haven't seen Good Times. But it was very popular, back in the day when it was on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So what? When you found out that he had a hearing problem, the reason I asked about you having other children was, if you have multiple children, you see the developmental aspects of what they do when, and so you have something to compare it to. That they're not.
Yeah, my daughter is 3 years older. I had a niece. I do have a niece that's 2 months older than him. So at the time, she was talking, and she was, progressing in her speech, but he was not. And so I kind of felt that there was something wrong. He was crazy about his sister. He wasn't saying her name. He wasn't saying the mom and dad, and I experienced that with my daughter, with her speaking at the proper ages, so I questioned about it, and found out after going to 3 different doctors that this child might have a hearing issue. And that's exactly what we found out, so that's why I put, in the book, I actually wrote the book when Martell probably was around 10. I just had a dream, and it's actually a fear of mine, the book is not really based on truth. Some of it is true, but most of it is the fear of a mother. And I feared that when he was like 8 or 10, he was midstream into the regular public school, and he was the only deaf child there. So he had an interpreter with him all the time. So in the book I created that he had issues with communicating with the kids or making friends, which was all just my fear that was going to happen to my child. And so once he got to school, it was always this saying that I would say to Martell, your hearing aids help you hear, like my glasses helps me see, which make you no different than me. And so that's why I titled my first book, You're No Different Than Me, because it was a phrase that I would tell him when he was a child for him to get out of being fearful. And I would send him to the corner store to purchase something and say, if they don't understand you, then just say it another way, because this is a hearing world. So I wanted him to be able to adapt in, the deaf community, and also in the hearing society that we have, going. So at this point, when my grandson was born, he's 6 now, I decided that I really need to do something with this book. And I decided to turn it into a series. It's called Martell's World. And so I'm going to continue to add on stories of a child overcoming their fear of feeling different and showing children that there's more similarities than there are differences. Yeah. And most children have only seen their grandparents with hearing aids. They've never seen anyone with, their age.
Mhm.
Right. That makes sense.
So they stare or, so just trying to get it out there and bring more conversations in the homes that it's a common thing. It's more deaf people out there than you would realize.
There's a TV show. I think it's on Netflix. I don't watch it. I watched a couple episodes with my daughter because she's into it, but it's about these sisters.
Yes.
Where one is deaf and one is hearing. Are you familiar with the show?
Yes.
Okay. And I thought that show did a really good job of normalizing having a hearing disability. Just the way that they were able to communicate and still be a part of regular teenage stuff.
That's actually true. And there is really no difference. It's just like an aid to help you see.
Right.
And it's a lot of people might think that they're slow or something. There's nothing wrong. It's just something a aid to help them hear if they're wearing hearing aids or even if they don't. And the movie world, the TV is putting more deaf actors and actresses out there, to show, society that there's a big community out there, and they actually have really gravitated to the books.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of them have not seen themselves as a child in this type of format.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. There's a movie on Tubi. Tubi has become like my favorite place to go for nighttime.
And I'm yet to watch Tubi.
Exactly.
I love Tubi. It has so many different kinds of movies that are really good, but they're not commercial. They're not the ones that they heavily promote, but they're great storylines. So my daughter made me aware of one called Hush, and it's a deaf young lady who's in a house, and then there's like a serial killer trying to get her, and how she responds to things that he does to fight him off. So and she wins in the end. So that's kind of like a spoiler, but she was gonna win in the end anyway because she was the star of the movie. So that was an interesting storyline. Does your son speak like a hearing person, or does he?
No. Well, you can.
He does. It's different.
Yeah, he does have an impairment in his voice, and you will be able to tell that when speaking to him. But and that's not the case with all people
right.
hearing issues. So with his case, it is, you will be able to, tell that. And my son went off to New York to get his bachelor degree. Everything was just as normal as your child, So it's something that, and I'm learning more by putting these books out about the deaf community more. They invite me to a lot of things that I've been invited to. Actually, deaf church reached out to me, and I'll be doing something next month for them. So it's very interesting. I'm learning, and I'm freshening up on my sign language, and
Nice.
so it's been very rewarding.
Now, you mentioned something called Deaf Nation.
Yes, Deaf Nation
What is that?
Deaf Nation is a very popular expo. It's a big organization that have big expos, and they have one here every year in November. But they just recently this year, every other year, they have a big celebration in Las Vegas. It's like a 3-day stretch of all type of entertainment, deaf entertainment. They had thousands of people come from all over the world, and it's just like a celebration, pool party. It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You never know some things that are happening if you're not plugged into that particular vein or thing.
Yeah,
Right.
So, but they're big in a certain, it's like a niche. And but it's good that there's places and activities and conferences where people don't feel isolated, and they get to meet other people, and they probably have some things with the latest technology and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, just what expo, they bring all different deaf items, or t-shirts and candles, anything you could think of, they have there that they're selling. And then actually, like you said, the things like, that we take for granted, hearing a doorbell ring, they have devices for that lights will flash when you push your doorbell from the outside.
Okay.
My son, when he was going to school, there's a alarm that's vibrate the mattress, to wake him up. So things that we take for granted, there are definitely different devices out there for the deaf.
Now, when did your book, the first installment, come out?
The first edition came out in April in 2023. And my second edition came out this year in February of this year, working on the third to be out at the beginning of the year.
Oh, okay. So what adventures or what happens with Martell in the first book?
In the first book, it describes what I was saying. It's like a base ground of him being midstream into a regular public school, and he has an interpreter with him, and he goes to school, and the kids stare at him because they have never seen anything like that. They haven't seen hearing aids in someone their age, and they've never seen an interpreter, sign language. They've never seen that. So he is fearful for going back because he said the kids just stared at him. No one talked to him. So it shows how he thinks of a clever way to make a friend. And his mother tells him that phrase that you're no different than them. And he makes this friend named Kyle in this movie. And then my second edition, Martell's Got Game. Well, him and Kyle are best friends now. And so they play basketball all the time. And so Kyle finds out that there's basketball tryouts, and he wants Martell to try out for the basketball team with him. But Martell is fearful because he doesn't want to be the weakest link. He doesn't want to, he's thinking that the kids won't pass him the ball, and he won't hear the whistle or things like that. So Kyle tells him, you're the best player I know. Martell, you got game. And so that attaches to the title of the book, Martell's Got Game. So he convinces him to try out, and they both make the team. And in my book, I relate to it personally because my son actually was the only deaf basketball player on the team, and I put some personal pictures in here of him, and you can see his hearing aids in the picture and everything. So it's real personal by doing, things like that. So that's what those two are about.
Oh, okay.
That's
Do you have any?
awesome.
It is. Do you have any resources in the book, like for people who are hearing impaired? Have you thought about doing that? Or maybe you could do it in book 3. I don't know if it's necessarily needed, but it just came to my mind and thought about people
Well,
might
my third book is going to have some sign language, teaching of sign language in the book, but
Okay.
I am associated with Chicago's Hearing Society. We've been working together. And so I've been doing some things with a lot of organizations, and not just the deaf, because I feel that the book also is catered around any child that feels that they're different in any kind of way, and to let them know that to look for similarities in the kids instead of their differences. And I want families to come together and read this to their children to open up conversations about the deaf, so they will know once if they saw it on the streets, or if someone came to their class with hearing aids, they would know what they were.
Okay. What's the target age group?
My age group is like 5, I would say 5 to 10. It depends on the reading skills. And of course, it's always available to read for children that can't read themselves.
Right.
I think this is so important, though, because I think we often put the onus on the kid who has the hearing problem, or whatever it is that makes them different, to be open, show them that you're friendly, but we don't really always teach the other kids how to accept somebody who may be a little different from them.
Exactly. Because when my son was midstream, there was one little boy that was in, and his actual name is Kyle. I used his name in the book. His first friend that he had met when he was midstream into a quote regular school. And because Kyle had a family member that was deaf, they matched them. They put him, he knew a little sign language. So for the first 2 years, Martell was always with Kyle, always in his classroom. So the third year, I went to the school and said, split him up. I didn't want him to rely on Kyle for everything, and he's still friends with him now on their Facebook, always keeps friends together.
Well, that's great. When I was in, I can't remember what grade it was. I want to say 5th grade. But we learned the sign language. Now, I can't do it now, but we learned the sign language so we could talk to each other when the teacher wouldn't know we were talking to each other.
Yeah, that's
we would sign from across the room.
Fun thing
I used to know the letters. I forgot F.
Yeah, this is O, and that's easy to know. This is L.
Right.
L is like an L. And I can't E. Is this E? Is this E?
This is E.
E,
That's
I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Yeah.
But we used to do that. And our teacher, she didn't catch us. And if she knew we were doing it, she never said anything.
Yeah, I actually start a sign language class on November 1st. I'm going to freshen up, because going to the Deaf Nation in Vegas, it just made me want to be able to communicate more, even though I was doing the little that I knew, and the people were telling me, you're doing great. They still were saying, next year when I see you, I want you to be able to sign a little better. And my son and his girlfriend was there, and they was pulling me through with everything.
Now, when your son was growing up, how did you communicate with him?
By voice. Yeah,
Okay.
we spoke when he was young and he was learning sign. That was one of my regrets. I wish I would have followed along with him as he was really learning it. But I did attend a couple of sign language classes, me and my daughter. But my son had told me something that kind of swayed me away from it. I wish I wouldn't have, but I was thinking that he wanted to keep the sign language just for him and his friends, not thinking that when he grow up that would be his world, because all of his friends are hard of hearing or deaf. And so he told me, why are you taking sign language class when we speak at home? And so I stopped doing it. I would just do what we knew at home, and we would do in quiet places, doctor's office, libraries, and things like that. We would talk to each other, and as he got older, then I started saying that when his friends would come around, that I was lacking in the communication with them,
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he has this beautiful girlfriend that does not use her voice at all. And I would like to communicate more with her. So I'm really pushing it to learn more, get better
Is
at
she
it.
hearing impaired as well?
Yes. Yes, she is. Yes. She is completely deaf because she doesn't use her voice at all, and she wears no hearing aids. My son wears 2 hearing aids.
Oh, okay.
Layers.
It's interesting that what parents do to raise their children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you adjust.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. We'll do just about anything. Legal or illegal sometimes. Your children, you just go above and beyond.
That's true. That's true.
For them. So are you able to go to schools and where you going to tell people about your work?
I do read at schools. I just actually read at an artistic 2 artistic clinics in Plainfield and Yorkville and Plainfield. I went there and read for the kids there. And I also go to schools and read, and anyone that would have me actually to read. I have a couple of things that's coming up in October 25th. I'm going to be in Fox Valley Mall, and it's at a Meet the Author fair, book fair. So I'll be there in the mall reading to the kids. I just was at Hyde Park children's book fair, and I read there. And Deaf Nation is coming again in November. They'll be there. And then I have the church.
Busy lady.
Yeah, the church already is set up in November also. So, yeah, so I trying to hustle and get it out there.
Yeah, I would say you are a busy lady. You have a lot going on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love that.
Yeah, well, your concept is so interesting and so different. We've had a lot of children's authors, but never anyone that had a deaf child that they wrote about. So this is a totally different subject and really, really needed and interesting that children who are hearing impaired, they're developmentally, they're no different.
Yes, exactly. There is definitely no difference. I mean, everything that you can do, they can do, they just can't hear. And it's the same as if a blind person, they can do everything, they just can't see, but when he was first put into a school, when he was 3, his birthday is in May. So he was put in school when he was 3 in May, and that means only a month and a half to 2 months left for the school year. And I was living in the city of Chicago, and they put him in a school that was, a dark room, and
Wow.
it was in the hood, and I'm like, oh no, this is not. It just seemed like they were just gonna pushing them in the room and just leave them like they had issues, you know. And then before the school started again, I moved out into Naperville area, and I raised my kids in the Naperville, Aurora area to get better education. Sorry. Yeah.
We'll go above and beyond for our children.
So you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I moved out. There was no one out there but me. Family was, you know, and back then that was it's an hour drive. You know, it just seemed like far away to go. So what we would do is just pack up and on Fridays and come to the city, stay with my parents. And Sunday, I'd put them in pajamas and put them in a car, and we go back for, you know, living out there.
Okay, well, we're at the end of our time, Cynthia, but thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV, and congratulations on your Martell's World Series.
Thank you. I want to tell people where to
Please
find
do.
me.
Yes.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Martell's World, and Facebook, Martell's World Books. My website is martellsworld.com, and just give me a call. And my books are sold wherever books you can find, wherever books are sold, in Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere you can find books, you can find me.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Rhonda probably put it in the chat. She normally does.
I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Okay. Okay.
I
All
appreciate
right.
it. Thanks
Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. You have a great night, and
You
God
too.
bless everything you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we're at the end of our time and the end of the show, but we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be back next Tuesday for another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I did want to say, because of the book festival, we will not have a show on October 28th, but we will be here next week and the next week, which is October 21st. So we will see you then. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.